Well, through these Essene traditions, we are given insights into the life of a man, a reverenced being, and I say that very intentionally, a man who came as a human to live among humans, to learn what humans had learned. A man we now know is Jesus of Nazareth. And as I'm saying this, what I'll say to you now on the camera, it may be no accident that this is being videoed on this day. This is Easter Sunday, 1996. And everyone here in the studio now is smiling because we're actually filming this on Easter Sunday. Maybe no accident that is happening. That this initiate, Jesus of Nazareth, lived the life that you and I have learned to live. He learned to trade. He lived, archaeological records now are showing that the little village that he lived in wasn't so little at all. It was a booming metropolis of about 40,000 people. He learned of commerce. He had to do everything that you are learning to do in your life. He had to master the emotions of his life in order to proceed through the choices that he was making in his life. I particularly love this image of Jesus as an initiate, as a student learning. This is again from Cheryl Yonbrock Rose. The title of this image is Christ Anchoring the Celtic Ray in England. This is one of the sacred sites in England. So through the Essene traditions, what we are shown, what we are told is this, that at least once, one man, Jesus of Nazareth, remembered the true nature of his being, the nature of compassion, and we'll define that compassion genetically in just a few moments. He remembered that compassion, he became that compassion in his life, and in doing so, allowed a biochemical shift in his body, a genetic change, a reordering of genetic coding. You'll see all of this very, very clearly with schematics and drawings in just a few moments. And in that reordering, he allowed himself the opportunity to live a phase transition, to live a change of state. And today, we call that change of state resurrection. Now, resurrection has such a powerful connotation. Whenever we say the word resurrection, for so many people, it conjures up images of religious processes. Resurrection has nothing to do with religion, although religions were built surrounding the concepts of what this alchemy is all about. This is the union, the holy union, the marriage between spirit and the elements of this earth, as you saw in Alex Gray's body. So what we're experiencing is this. Our earth is going through a phase transition, low magnetics, higher frequencies. We live within the fields of those transitions. We live upon the earth. Every cell in our body is attempting to maintain a resonance, to stay tuned, to stay with those magnetics, to stay with those frequencies, allowing us to also transition with the earth into this higher expression, this higher form of energy that is being expressed through the 7.8 and 8.6 and 9 cycle per second energy. Resurrection is a path. This man, Jesus of Nazareth, anchored this wisdom. He lived among us and anchored this wisdom in our conscious matrix. He became the living bridge for us 2,000 years later so that we would have access to his wisdom as we actually live the transition, as Earth actually carries us through the transition. Now, there's a lot of controversy as to whether or not this man actually ever existed, lived or not. Some of the controversy centers around this relic that is known as the Shroud of Turin. Now, this particular shroud, this is a linen shroud that was wrapped, it's said to have been wrapped around the body of Christ following the crucifixion, and is this shroud that was left in the burial chamber after his body disappeared following his resurrection. A lot of controversy surrounding this. I'll say right now, we will never know for sure who was in this shroud. We don't know certainly who it was. In the past, through the methods of dating, carbon-14 dating and things like that, it has taken so much of a sample in order to establish the dates that the original artifact has been destroyed. It would have taken a square foot of this linen being destroyed to date this according to carbon-14 traditions. Well, in 1978, Los Alamos National Labs in north central New Mexico was able to obtain this shroud for a period of time, and they ran some new analyses on it without destroying the fibers, and here's what they found. What they discovered was this. The controversy has been whether or not this image, what is this image that we're seeing on this 2,000-year-old shroud? Some people say it's painted, some people say it's body oils from the body that was within the shroud. What Los Alamos National Labs is saying, and this team was headed up by a gentleman named Ray Rogers, 1978. They're saying this, that the weaving and the linen type of this shroud are authentic to the date about 2,000 years ago that we would expect to see from that time in history. So it probably is about 2,000 years old. That the image that you're seeing on here appears to be a photographic negative on this linen. And here's why they say that. Because when we photograph the negative of the shroud, we end up with a positive of the image. So it may be that this shroud essentially is a photographic negative over 2,000 years old. When we photograph that now, we have a very good positive image of whoever this man was. Now, what the report says, it says that this image was not painted, it's not body oils, it's not some a charcoal rubbing or anything like that. That the fibers of the linen are actually scorched from, they were scorched from within the shroud, whatever the shroud was covering, the body. The fibers were scorched from within by a high, rapid, intense heat source of biochemical origin unknown to us at this time. That's actually what the report says. We call that resurrection. A rapid influx of tremendous amounts of life force or chi or prana intentionally distributed to every cell in the body, allowing those cells a higher vibratory expression of themselves. So we'll never know precisely who this man is. The damage on the man's wrists, around his head, and in his side do match the damage that is given to us, that was given to the body of Christ during the crucifixion process. Again, we'll never know for certain precisely who this man was. The reason I have this slide here is because I'm showing you at least once in our history we may have been given the opportunity to see, to witness the demonstration of a change of state, a phase transition that we call resurrection. In the Essene traditions, then what we see is at least once this reference being, a reference being that we know as Jesus of Nazareth, the gift that reference being left for us then was the gift of the wisdom to allow this phase transition, this change of state, this process that we call resurrection within our bodies. Compassion in the Essene traditions. Compassion is a knowable, livable science. And again, this is the image that to me conjures up the sense of compassion. Cheryl's image of Archangel Michael in prayer over the Middle East in the Gulf War. It is through compassion, the science of compassion, and you and I will work together to arrive at this understanding through this video. Through the science of compassion, that emotions, as they were allowed to express fully in the body, shift genetic patterns, genetic codes within the body, allowing the body the tuning, allowing the body to ride in the transition with the earth. As the earth goes through her changes, our bodies are being asked to go through theirs.